Here at Helmuth Ford, we are a small town dealership with no hassle and no pressure.
The Garden Gate at 105 South Jefferson Street in Sigourney, proudly serving Keokuk County and the surrounding area for over 27 years. Give Cindy a call at 641-622-3191. Hours are Monday through Friday 9 to 5, Saturday 9 to noon. Stop into the Garden Gate for fresh floral arrangements, jewelry, home decor, sympathy gifts. They even have Hawkeye and Cyclone items. They've got something for everyone. It's the Garden Gate on the east side of the square in Sigourney.
Welcome to this edition of Morgan You Asked For podcast. New Year's Day, first day of 2025. Happy New Year, Morgan You Asked For podcast family. Hopefully the new year is great. Hopefully you had a great 2024 and just looking forward to the next year. Many more podcasts to come. Tonight I am going to be solo. Trev couldn't join us tonight. Tune in. We are going to try to do one tomorrow after the Sugar Bowl. Most of you know the Sugar Bowl was postponed to tomorrow with the attack in New Orleans early this morning with the guy driving through crowd and stuff. Terrorist attack is what it's being called. So thoughts and prayers to everybody affected by that, and hopefully that gets taken care of the way it needs to be taken care of, and we can limit that stuff. You're never going to stop that stuff, but hopefully that stuff can be limited. It's happening too much, and we need to get a handle on that. And as a country and as a society, we can do better, and I hope that does happen. Again, just thanks everybody for listening, tuning in to any way you do listen to our podcast. We do ask you, please rate, review, subscribe on your favorite player. It really does help. It's amazing. Just looking at numbers and stuff on some of the different ones that do get listened to more than others. And then, just a couple others. Thanks to Steve Shetler Media and Steve Shetler. Every week, a couple hundred people or so. There's been times there's been more. There's times there's less, but I kind of averaged it out. Couple hundred people a week listen. We do appreciate Steve putting us on and letting us be a part of his group, and we do thank you very much, Steve. And then on the ones we do live on Facebook, we do get a little more feedback there, and usually 100 to 200 people listen and watch that as well. So thank you to those people as well. Now, a couple things here. I'm just going to kind of review the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Most everybody knows I went down there, and in a few minutes here, I'm going to talk about that and my trip down there. I've got a story for you, but I do want to talk about the Pop-Tarts Bowl real quick. I know it was several days ago, but I think Trev and I are going to talk more about the playoff games and everything, but I just want to talk about the Pop-Tarts Bowl. First, I want to give whatever the Pop-Tarts Bowl marketing team is, who it is, who's deciding it, who was responsible for the in-game atmosphere, and whatever Pop-Tarts is paying to be a sponsor of that bowl, they are getting every dollar's worth that they are spending. They leaned into it. Bowl games are fun. It's exhibitions. It's entertainment. They leaned into it, and it was awesome. Wildberry Pop-Tart was the MVP of the entire game, not Rocco Beck. He was fun everywhere. They leaned into last year's Pop-Tart being resurrected and a funeral for him and watching the new guy go down. Cinnamon Roll was the one that did get 8 at the end of the game after the Cyclones did win 42-41 in a super exciting game. 5 touchdowns in the first quarter. There was no defense played until the second half, and then just a little bit of defense there. Cam Ward sits at halftime, doesn't come in. The crowd was chanting for him to come back in, especially in that last drive to give them a chance to win with a field goal. He still did not. I think that was the plan all along. I don't think it was he went at halftime and said, I'm done. I think it was a plan to play for half. I'm sure he got some money to play. And I don't blame anybody. It's the reason it happened. Iowa State had players go through warm-ups and then take off their pads and everything and then sit out, which isn't good either. If I'm a gambler, which I do gamble, I make bets. I did not make a bet on that game. And being in Florida, there was only, I think, Hard Rock bet was the only one you could do, and I don't have that app. So I couldn't make any bets in Florida when I was down there anyway. But that's bad. At least if going in the game, they're not playing like other people have said and everything. But Cam Ward said he was going to play. The Iowa State players, all indications have been that everybody's playing. No one was really opting out. We had the one transfer portal guy, the D lineman, Onedum, or I don't know really how to say his name, number 88. And that's fine. That was known. He's not with the team. But Darian Porter and Jay Higgins warmed up and then sat. I don't like that. That I don't know if it was their idea, coach's idea. Doesn't matter. It's not the way to do it. If you're going to opt out, opt out. It needs to be clear. And like the Big Ten does, the Big 12 needs to get with this, and it needs to be a college football rule. There needs to be availability. Come out 2 hours before the game, hour before the game. It doesn't matter when, but just before the game. Playing or not playing, in or out. You don't need to be specific. You don't need to do anything. You can say upper body injury if you want, but I don't think you even have to say that. Just, Jay Higgins not playing, Darian Porter not playing, Rocco Beck playing. I mean, that's all it needs to happen. And same thing. Now, Cam Ward and his situation is a little different. He did play, so I guess he would be in a playing situation and sit in the second half. But I do think that needs to be a thing that happens, and the Big Ten does have it right there, just like the NFL, just like every other college sports are becoming professional sports, whether we all like it or not. That's the reality of it. It needs to be getting treated much more like it. The players are getting paid. They need to be more getting interviewed. The coaches shouldn't be able to control that as much. Coaches are losing power right now in college sports, and they're having trouble with that, and that's why a lot of them are retiring or changing whatever. And Matt Campbell's a great coach, does a lot of good things, but he is super, super secretive on injuries. Ben Bramer was supposed to play the next week, like 8 weeks ago, and he didn't play again. Now, his was an injury deal. He wasn't opting out or anything, but just much more forthright in who's playing and who's not playing should be happening. But awesome game. I want to, the weather was really good. Obviously Laura went with me and my dad, so it was the three of us there. And then talking a little bit, we sat by some people. Miami Hurricane fan Doug DeCock was on last week. I haven't talked to Doug since. He's on vacation now. The Miami fans are a different breed. They are not like Iowa State fans. I don't know. They're just different. Right, wrong, or indifferent. They stand up all the time. They cheer. They just they do things differently than Iowa people, and it showed. And it was just a weird mix of having those. Iowa State crowd, tip your hat, way more people than I thought were going to be there. A lot of Miami fans. Now, the stadium was not full. That's a big stadium. The entire upper deck was not no tickets were sold to that, and it wasn't full even down below, but it was better than I thought. We had really good seats. We were in the fourth row. Cam Ward is a big human being for being a quarterback. And watching Miami, they're a big physical, fast football team. They're good. Iowa State was very, lucky and did things really well for the most part on offense to keep up with Miami's offense. Miami had the number one offense in the country. For those of you who are saying, well, Iowa State's defense couldn't stop them at all, well, that's true. They played bad. They've not been good all year. I do think they need to take a look at a scheme or the personnel. I think the 3-3-5, with the way college football has evolved in the last 3 years, it was really, really good 6, 7, 8 years ago when they went to it, and it was real innovative. Now everybody runs a little bit of offshoot of it, but a lot of 4-2-5 looks are coming out more than the 3-3-5. And I just think there's a place for the 3-3-5, but you do need to get that fourth guy down there a little bit, unless you have a Will McDonald type player that Iowa State had, and that was able to get pressure, because there was the one play where he was standing back there. I actually thought I missed a whistle. I thought the play was over because he was literally standing there, not moving, like the whistle had blown, the play was blown dead, and then he just flicked his arm and had a strike right on the play, running back out to the right. He had all day to throw, and that was a theme all year where quarterbacks had way too much time. And then he sat the second half, and their backup quarterback is nothing like him. Now, there's only one quarterback in the country like him, Shedeur Sanders. He's going to be a top 5-7 pick, and it showed. And just watching him play, and their running back is big and fast, and they're a very, very good football team, and Iowa State very, very lucky to get out of there with a win. 11 wins, school record number of wins, best season in school history, beating Miami. And here's what's crazy. That game doesn't matter in the big scheme of things, but next August, when preseason rankings come, they're going to see 11 wins. They're going to see beating, number 20 Miami in the bowl game or whatever it is. They beat Cam Ward, and coming off, and they return a lot of players. It's going to help them in the preseason poll, and unfortunately that matters. And if you can have another year like you had this year, where you're 7, 8, 9-0, or 8-1, and you're ranked 16th, well, if you start at number 21 instead of 16, maybe you're 13. And now you're in that playoff talk much more than you were this year. If you still have a loss or two, the one loss or two losses get you in. And we'll talk much more about that with Trevor tomorrow night. But just overall, great game, great, just great experience. It's always good to be around Cyclone fans. Was not the same as normal for me, and I'm going to get into that now. So Laura and I left Oskaloosa about 5 o'clock on Christmas night to head to Moline, because we're going to fly out. Our flight leaves at like 8:50, I think, the 26th of December. So we're going to go up, stay all night in a hotel, so we don't have to get up at like 4 in the morning. Get to the. It's not a very big airport, so we'll get to the airport about 7 o'clock. Fly out. Get to Florida about 1 o'clock. Then we're going to head to Daytona Beach for the day, and then drive up to Gainesville for the evening, stay in a hotel there, and then go help my parents at my uncle's house, clean out his house. So that's the plan. So we drive up. We notice just, we're going to stop and get something to eat somewhere along the road there, but everything's pretty much open in Oskaloosa. A few things are closed, but Casey's are open, and we're like, we'll just stop and get something. And so we decided to go up. It's really no different. So we decided to go up just to the interstate and then over. So we go over to Waucheer and up, and the Quick Star there right at the on ramp is open, and we drive. The stuff in Iowa City looks open. We're like, well, we're not really that hungry yet, 'cause we had a good Christmas dinner, everything. And so we get to the Walcott exit, the largest truck stop. Stuff's open there. Like, well, let's just get into the Quad Cities and over closer to the hotel, and we'll just get something to eat, and we'll just be done. Well, when you get there and you get close to the following MapQuest, I've been there, but I don't know the Quad Cities great, and I've been to the airport once, but I don't know it real well. So it has us get off this exit, and it's like a mile to the hotel, and it's okay. I'm like, well, there's stuff this way. Let's go left, and we drive by, and McDonald's is closed. I'm like, well, that's okay, and we go by, and there's a Casey's, but Quad Cities is just, it didn't look real. No, the Casey's was closed. Sorry. Casey's was closed. And then there's a little gas station there, and it's just not like a Casey's or Quick Start. So we're like, we're going to go buy it. So we just drive around a little bit and just places that just where we are, I guess it must not have been the best part of town. I don't know. Quad City's great. So we decide to just drive around a little bit. And I'm like, well, let's just go kind of towards downtown. Surely some things are going to be open down there or whatever. Nope, nothing was open. A few places places I don't really want to go to. Casino's open. Drive by a casino. I'm like, I'd rather not go in there. But I mean, if that's the last resort, we can. So we drive around and we're like, heck with it. We're just going to go back to the hotel. And surely they've got a few things you can buy or whatever. And we're not that hungry. Again, like I said, we had a good Christmas dinner. So we did a nice drive around the Quad Cities, up and down the Mississippi River. And so we get back and I'm like, I'm going to go one more exit. And then we go there and then we see, and there's a mall on the left-hand side. Now malls aren't what they used to, and we understand that. Now it's probably 8:30 now. So it's definitely, things are closed, much more closed. So we drive around and there's nothing open. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of our eyes, we see a little open sign, and it's a restaurant. I can't tell what it is for sure. Chinese restaurant. So we are straight out of the Christmas Story. It's probably about 9:00 by the time we find this place, a Chinese place, and they were hopping. Not very many people in there, but a lot of DoorDash and people coming in just pick. And they were open. We went in, had a nice meal. It was good. I think it was good, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. So we have a decent meal there, and then we go back to the hotel, and alarm set for I think 5:50. Goes off. I look at my phone. Flight delayed. Day after Christmas, everybody knows around here, fog. Okay, so let's just say the flight gets now is moved to 10:30. Okay, not a big deal. So I don't sleep after that, so I kind of just dink around on my phone. I get another one. Now we're delayed to 12:30. Okay, still not too bad. It's probably 7:30 now. I've been up for a little bit.